Chitty chatting with a pro.
Today I'm talking with game industry veteran turned marketplace engineer Jordan Andersen about the future of gaming. Jordan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Brian.
I sure appreciate you joining me. You're probably the most qualified person I know about this, but anyway, what do you think the future of 4K gaming is?
Well, so the thing is, when it comes to resolution in games, the thing you have to remember is that the cost isn't linear as far as the amount of hardware it takes to drive high resolution like 4K. So when you double the width of the resolution, you actually quadruple the number of pixels that are on the screen. And for each one of those pixels, you have to have your pixel shader. You have to have a pixel shader burning time, CPU time, GPU time, in order to shade that pixel. And so, whenever there's a big bump in resolution, like we had with the Xbox 360, there was the big bump to 720p, and the Xbox 360 PS3 era, and now with the PS4 Xbox One era, we're all the way up to 1080p. There's a cost, and what typically happens is it's a cost that the game developers don't want to pay in art. And that's part of it.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it really comes down to art cost. There's the hardware costs, which I mentioned is nonlinear. So you have to the hardware has to quadruple in power before you can do a big bump in resolution like that. So that that takes a while. That's on Moore's law, but still you have to wait for that, and that causes things like.
So what you're saying is you could invent a 4K gaming console today. It just costs $5,000.
Well, you'd need to have,
and the art would be limited.
Well, the art, it would look like art that was meant for a lower resolution experience.
Sure. Okay, so what do you think about immersive gaming, Oculus Rift, HoloLens? What do you see going on there?
Well, there's definitely a lot of money going into it. I was actually part of the original Kickstarter for Oculus. I have a DK1 downstairs in my basement, and one thing that's for certain is that you put one on for the first time. If you haven't got a chance to do it, you got to do it. It's clearly compelling. Now, what it's for, who knows? The content experience has to be dramatically different from the kind of games that we're used to playing. The kind of games that we're used to playing, there's a lot of movement, it's a lot of high intensity. None of those work for VR. And so the question is in the hardware. The hardware problem has been mostly solved by Oculus and the people developing our cell phones. They've made the strides necessary to get the displays to work. But the trick now is going to be the experience, and no one has really come up with something that you just got to have. Right now, it's a really great demo. It's not a really great product. So everyone's sort of standing around. You notice there's nothing quite in the marketplace yet. That's because people are scared of having another 1990s sort of VR bubble and then having it pop and then go dead for 20 years. So right now, people are looking for what that software experience is, and it's not Call of Duty. Call of Duty would be an absolute vomit factory. You would throw up immediately. Yeah, you would. You would just throw up. So, and the other thing is just violence in general it's just too real. It just doesn't feel good. It feels like you're killing someone when one thing that's you notice when you're in a virtual experience with another character is you feel personal space in a way that you don't feel in a video game, and it doesn't feel good to kill someone because to most people killing people doesn't feel good. So
you're saying there's a niche market for that?
No, I'm not saying it's a niche market. I'm just saying it's a different market. I think the market is probably big. I think Call of Duty.
I meant there's a niche market for people who actually want the experience of killing someone.
Yeah, no, certainly. I think we'll probably see experiences that are a lot more zen, a lot more sort of pro-social. I think the experiences along the lines of virtual tourism, that sort of thing, are going to be a lot more compelling to people, just because, you know, it's not going to be fun to go and be in a trench shooting weapons. It's just it's all well and good when it's when it's on a 5-foot screen. It's when it's all around you, it's not exciting. So, well, it is exciting, but it's not pleasant. So you've seen how much more power has gone into phones, and games on phones have gone from really basically 4-bit games just not that many years ago to some pretty amazing games. Your cell phone today has the computing power of a supercomputer just 20 years ago. What do you see for the future of mobile games? Well, it's certainly in a mature market now. So it's not really something that you can really forecast as being hugely disruptive.
Not going to see any.
It's been disrupted. Mobile constitutes a bigger part of the industry than any other part of the video game industry now. I think in 2014, King, the creator of Candy Crush, their revenues constituted 20% of total game industry revenues.
Oh my gosh!
You'll have to fact check.
Well, I understand they had. If they were a nation, they'd have a GDP that ranks very well.
Yeah, it's insane. But the funny thing is about these mobile games is people get a hit, and you know they can basically repackage the hit with like new skins or like sequels, but
sure,
it's so difficult to get a hit. I mean, these people, they come and they make these mobile games. They just come out of nowhere, and you think they're going to rule the world. Like you think someone like King or Rovio is going to go scooping up other game companies and then having a whole portfolio of really great games. But really, they're just one-hit wonders. And once their hit starts to fade in people's memory and buying habits, it's on to the next thing. It's not they don't have the stable of hits that you see in the console side. So.
And I can agree with that. Every time I found a game I really enjoyed, I checked out other games from the same developer and found nothing compelling.
Yeah. That's certainly my experience too.
So are computers ever going to actually get smaller, or are they just going to keep getting more powerful? Because I know my cell phone can do things that my laptop from 10, 15 years ago couldn't, but I still wouldn't, I still have a mid-tower, as you know.
Right. So,
and I still need it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, when it comes to the point we're at now with PCs, particularly laptops, is their size is largely driven by the human constraints, not anything else. So if you make them too small, the screens are too small, and they're basically their phones. Then I mean, if you've seen the new MacBook, the crazy, insanely thin one, you wouldn't even want it any thinner. You just wouldn't want that. It would be not. It would be not a useful machine for someone who's creating content anymore.
So now, when the Singularity comes, is that going to change gaming, or is that too far out to discuss?
Well, the funny thing about the idea of the Singularity in gaming is the whole idea of what is the economy going to be if there's never any scarcity, and there's actually a pretty good guide for that in these free to play games where they create this artificial scarcity just to get your dollar. So
sure.
Yeah. So if you believe in the Singularity and you think it's a good thing, well, maybe you should play a few more of these free to play games, because that's as far as I can tell, economy wise, that's going to be that's our future of.
So Jordan, you worked for Microsoft for a long time in the Xbox division, and you're a very skilled programmer. What are you doing now? What made where'd you go? What made you leave?
Well, so I really got interested in the sort of the science of marketplaces, and so I joined in with a couple of colleagues on a project called Neighborly. It's sort of in the,
Neighborly. All
yeah,
right.
it's sort of in the vein of Uber and Airbnb and all these other marketplaces that we're in the middle of a bubble for. But we basically
and I'll provide a link to that in the description for those listening or watching.
Yeah, but basically what we do
what's
is
it do?
We match people who are looking to do casual labor in their neighborhood, things like lawn care or home care.
Okay.
And we match you. We can match you instantly, buyers and sellers.
Oh.
And we handle reputation, payment, and scheduling instantly through your phone, and it's doing well. So we're test marketing in Seattle. Most neighborhoods in Seattle. So if you're in the Seattle area, you can check us out at neighborlyapp.com.
So I'll tell you what I'll tell you what I love about the business model is that, reputation management, convenience, those things are huge, and the traditional market just doesn't support them.
Yeah, what's really cool about it is if you were looking for someone to wash your dishes, how would you do that? You would go in the phone book and call around and find the closest person. It would be people don't do that. There's a reason people don't do that, because there's a huge cost associated with scheduling, finding someone, and paying them, and we can handle that in about 5 seconds. So.
Okay. Well, Jordan Andersen, thank you so much for your time today, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Cool. Yeah, you're a good host.